All right, I know it ain't 2 o'clock yet, but may as well get the show started. So, welcome to Soul Polls Saturday. Once again, it's me. It's that VINCE. How you doing there today, folks? I'm actually a bit sick. I get pretty sick whenever the weather changes, folks. And somehow the weather just jumped up and down all within the matter of last night. So I'm feeling really foul. Plus, I got a lot of stuff to throw away. I finally decided I'm going to throw out all of my MD magazines and any other media that I'm not using. I mean, a lot of my MD magazines I've not read for years. Whatever value they actually have, folks, I mean, it's not going to be worth keeping around, so I'm just going to put something else there in its place. I'm also throwing out a lot of other stuff, too, so got to clear out the file cabinet as well. I got old paperwork that I got to get rid of, clean the house up. Monday, I'll have the rest of the stuff put together, and on the 10th or 15th, I should have my new sofa, and then I should be done with everything. Oh no, it's just the weather. That's all it is. Well, I have a ton of MD magazines, but all they're doing is taking up space. I've not cracked open any of them in God knows how long. I mean, we're talking at least almost 8 to 9 years, but I've kept a collection of them. But I think it's time to part with them, you know. sometimes even if something has some intrinsic value, I mean, I would have to sell them. And I'm not going to go put these out on eBay just to sell, you know. Be just a waste of time. Oh yeah, Lamar, you were getting sizzled there last night, man, just chilling. I used to go out like that back in the day. I remember. That's how old Vinny Vince used to roll. Ugh. That's how all y'all should roll if you're his age. If you're in your 20s or 30s or so forth, you know, do what you got to do right now. My cousin is not doing all right, actually. At least I don't think so. Yeah, whatever. I mean, they just don't have any real value for me to sell at this point. Maybe in about 30 or 40 years, but it's just better just to clear out the crap, you know. That's because he wants my cock, Mothman. He wants my cock. He wants the whole balls and shaft, you know. That, and I mean, he doesn't have anything, you know. He has no channel. He does literally nothing. I mean, at least he has a job. I can give you that, and a car and a place to live, but his life is boring. He's still living off of the date of 2 minutes of where he went and boxed with J Masters, if you can call that so much of a boxing match. But he's just a talentless hack, you know. But yeah, we're throwing out a lot of stuff today. I got 2 trash bags. The stuff's just got to go, folks. I'm just tired of, it's just going to be better for it to go, along with a lot of other paperwork. That's my cousin, Clouds. Why would I go and screw family? I wouldn't screw him anyway, even if he wasn't, but that's disgusting. That's some straight up Kentucky hillbilly shit right there. That ain't no hillbilly or anything. So, folks, tell me what y'all are going to be doing this Saturday. Y'all know what I'm doing, so what are you guys doing? What are y'all up to? You going to go out again, Lamar? I also hate the weather, too. The weather is just freaking horrible. Worst weather ever. But I think I got one video to review today, and then the rest is going to be old chit-chat, you know, and stuff. So, apparently, Doucette's running his mouth about some sort of weight scene type thing. I've not seen the video yet, so it's titled "He's Going to Pay for It." So, let's see what old Doucette is all about. Well, strange clouds. The reason why I live in the South is because it's supposed to be warm. Oh, I'll get over the weather. I mean, this is what happens when you get older, you know. The weather really screws with your bones and stuff. But let's check this out and see what Greg is all about, and then rest of the show will just be Q&A stuff. So hang tight.
He can handle. He's lifted it for 1 good rep. Only this time, on the 2nd rep, something goes wrong. Coach Greg, in today's video, you broke it, you bought it. Only this time, It's at a commercial gym. And so we got a guy, he's going to the gym, he buys a day pass, and he's trying to get in some squats. Perhaps he wants bigger legs, better booty. And so he's lifting a relatively heavy weight, at least for the size of him, very strong squatter, about 120 kilograms. He looks like he only weighs half of that.
I mean, his size and proportion doesn't really matter. He could be training for the Olympics, and in which case, they can lift a lot heavier than that.
Which is about 265 pounds. And so he unracks the weight, 120 kilos. He's stepping back and he's got his heels elevated by a plate. Perhaps he's trying to work his quads a little bit more. And he squats down to parallel with very good technique. And he gets one good clean rep. And remember, he's gone for 1 rep maxes in the past. He's lifted 140 kilograms. And on each attempt, if he can't get it, he'll put the weight back down on the safety rack that's in place. And so when we tell people how to lift properly in the gym, doing a squat, we say use a safety rack. And why is that? Because in case you can't lift the weight, you place the bar back down on the safety rack so that you don't get hurt. It's a lot better to hurt the rack or the bar than it is to hurt your back or perhaps...
Yeah, he is right about that. So many kids out there they're just not that are not lifting safely. You want to get the workout, but you want to walk out of there alive. We've already seen a couple months ago where someone got killed over just doing squats, and no one should be talking to the boatman. From a squat rack accident.
Lose your life doing a squat. And so he's doing everything right. He has the safety bars in place. He's using a weight that he can handle. He's lifted it for 1 good rep. Only this time on the 2nd rep, something goes wrong. Perhaps he just doesn't have the strength on this day. Perhaps he was tired from the previous set. Perhaps he was tired from the previous repetition. But he's attempting the 2nd rep. He's doing so in a gym with a safety rack in place. And so he's doing everything right. Only this time on his 2nd repetition, on the way up, he perhaps loses his balance, loses his strength, and he begins to fall forward. And luckily for him, the safety rack is there. He drops the weight on the safety rack and it prevents him from getting hurt. No big deal, right? Exactly what's supposed to happen, right? Wrong! Only this time, as the bar lands on the safety rack, it forms a crack in it. And so it's unfortunate the safety rack could not withstand 120 kilograms. I mean, in the past, I've dropped over 700 pounds. I'm walking back, my ankle rolls.
Well, that's not the kid's fault. That's the gym's fault there. That's not his responsibility to replace, I mean, the purpose of those squat racks is to protect from injury, and stuff.
And I drop the weight, slams down on the safety rack, and it's bent. Used to be straight, now it's bent like this. Did I have to pay for it? Nope. Was it my fault? Yup. I walked back with 700 pounds, rolled my ankle, and the safety bar, it saved me. That's the job of the safety rack. Now, last I checked, compared to 700 pounds, 250 pounds, not all that much. But yet it breaks the rack. Breaks the rack. What kind of rack breaks when its job is to protect the lifter? The job of the safety rack is to protect the lifter.
Yeah, exactly. That's crappy equipment. I mean, at least he walks out of there. I mean, I'd rather argue with the gym owner about a fee than get hauled away on a cart.
Lifter. And if it cracks with 250 pounds, what might it have done if he had 700 pounds? Imagine he had crashed down with 700 pounds. It slams into the rack, breaks it, and falls on his back, breaks his back. Then he's in the hospital. Would they then ask him to pay for the safety rack? You know what would happen? He might have a lawsuit. Your safety rack did not save me. Because it didn't save me, now I have a broken bone. I am going to sue you. And so imagine this gym thinking they can force this kid to have to pay for the damage that the safety rack should have been able to withstand. A safety rack should withstand 265 pounds. If it doesn't, is that the kid's fault? Should he then have to pay for it? Only they're saying, yep, you broke it, you bought it, you have to pay for it. And so what do you think? What do you think is fair? And so what's shocking for me is there are actually comments in there saying, you break it, you pay for it, it's the you.
I mean, you're looking at it from an American point of standard. We don't know. Obviously, this looks like a Chinese video. So the laws may be different in China as opposed to the U.S. As far as to the laws are concerned. So it's not really our business or to really care who pays for it or anything. The important point is that, he's alive. I arguing about a damage there, that's like arguing about damage on a car. Better to not get killed in a car accident than to just worry about car insurance and stuff.
Universal rule. Only thing is, this never applied to a gym in my entire life. I've never heard of anyone having to pay for anything, even if they were at fault for breaking it. I've seen it where people drop a dumbbell, bounces on the floor, hits into the mirror in the back. They don't have to pay for the mirror. Obviously, the person's fault. You drop the dumbbell on the floor and it bounced and hit into the mirror.
I mean, Chinese quality. It looks like he's in China. I mean, look at the writing on the wall and stuff, and look at the language there. Greg. I mean, I'm with Greg on this, but that's but that's because I'm an American. Greg's and stuff. I think Greg's a Canadian there, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but in most modern European countries, it is the gym would be responsible, but in China works a little different, possibly.
They don't have to pay for it. And so imagine being expected to pay for something because the gym equipment malfunctioned. I was once training at the YMCA. I was doing leg extensions. I had the whole stack. I was a teenager. The whole stack. Lifting harder than last time. Extending my legs. Only on rep number 10, the cable snaps. Snap! Cable's broken. I'm doing leg extensions. The weight then, of course I'm putting full force, comes back and hits me in the chest, cuts me open. It's metal. I'm extending as hard as I possibly can with the entire stack and it snaps and it comes crushing on my chest. Luckily, I didn't break my sternum, but I was in fact bleeding and it was very painful. Do you think the YMCA is going to say, hey, you broke the cable, you got to pay for it? Imagine if they didn't want me to pay for it. Imagine the ridiculousness. And when I busted that squat rack because I tripped with 700 pounds, did I have to pay for it? Of course not. And so how could anyone think that this kid has to pay for the damage done by a safety rack that just did its job? And so what's scary for me is that it actually broke it. Now, when I race on a bicycle and I have a helmet and I once was hit by a car and I slammed into the car, hit my head into the side, did a front flip, landed on the other side of my feet, cut my arm open. See this scar? Had a hole about this big. No skin was removed. I hit into the side view mirror. It cut all the skin off of my arm. They then sewed my skin together and I'd torn my bicep. This happened in my early 20s when I was training for a bodybuilding competition. I was doing my cardio on the bike. In this case,
the worst I've ever got hurt in training was when I rolled my ankle. And later on, I did break this arm there, but that's because of simply because of my age. In other words, after years of training and competing in bodybuilding, even though I failed miserably in bodybuilding, the training still takes a devastating effect upon your joints. So I don't really count whenever I broke my arm because that's just old age, because I was still lifting pretty safely. In fact, I was using a machine bicep curl at the time. But the only time I've ever gotten injured is actually a rolled ankle. But what Greg is talking about, that sounds pretty bad.
My helmet was broken. It was crushed from the impact of hitting into the car. Should I then be calling up the helmet manufacturer and saying, hey, you need to pay for this helmet because I broke it. I need a new one for free. The helmet did exactly what it's supposed to do. I didn't have any
That sounds like some pretty good stuff there, Kat.
damage, although I had a headache and some cuts from where the helmet hit into my head. It did its job. It's supposed to protect me. The safety rack is there for a reason. Are people going to then remove the safety rack and think, well, if I can't squat the weight, I don't want the safety rack there because what if I break it? And so they'll squat without the safety rack, which is there for a reason. And if it breaks, it breaks. But the job is to protect that person. In the same way, that helmet that protected me during that car accident, that saved me. If it wasn't for that, who knows what would have happened? And so if it wasn't for the safety rack, who knows what would have happened to this lifter? And so to think he has to pay for it, it's absolute ridiculousness. I don't understand how other people would think he has to pay for it. Break it, you bought it.
Well, again, it's China, You're thinking of things in an American standard. We don't know, But I'll let this finish out.
This is not somebody's house. This is not him sneaking in and doing something wrong. This is not him maliciously breaking the rack on purpose by being a ridiculous person. He didn't put on 1,000 pounds, lift it off the rack and throw it on the floor and see if he could break it. He was legitimately trying to get a second rep, of which he had a very good chance to do it. Seemed he lost his balance, fell forward, dropped the weight on the rack. The rack should have been able to withstand it. It shouldn't have broken. And so if anything, the gym owners should be calling the rack manufacturers and saying, we had a rack that broke with a kid doing 265 pounds. Perhaps you can get us a replacement. There's something wrong. Was this a lemon? And so what's really shocking is there's so many comments thinking they had to pay. And imagine this analogy. You're going bungee jumping, okay? And so you go and you jump off a bridge and the cord, it breaks on the way down. And you fall in the water and perhaps you survive because it only broke right at the end. It slowed you down a little bit. Are you now going to have to pay $1,000 to replace that cord that broke? It's your fault. You were the one jumping while the cord was stretching. You physically broke it. But is it your responsibility? That cord is your safety line. It's preventing you from an early death. And so to the same extent as the helmet, the safety cord, the bungee cord, this is what these things are designed to do, and we should not be forced to pay for it. Can't believe I have to make videos explaining these things. And so the next time you go to the gym and you break a piece of equipment, understand it's not your fault. The equipment is designed to save you. Use the equipment. Don't think, oh, I can't use this safety rack because what if I end up breaking it? Ending it here. And don't forget, if you're looking for HDLT supplements, including...
We're not looking for your HDL, whatever the hell supplements is concerned. Folks, I mean, Greg is 100% right in a European American standard. But it's China, you know. A lot of Asian countries are, you know, operate a lot differently, you know, much differently. You know, this is a homogenous society. I mean, let me give you an example, folks. You know, are you familiar with business cards? You know, how you pass them around back and forth there and everything. In Japan, it's a lot more different as far as to doing business. And I've done some business with some Japanese business people. There is an entirely different procedure as far as handing and etiquettes in regards to a business card. But yeah, you're right, Nameless. You know, this stuff can be ordered for cheap there, you know. But in the Asian culture, you know, it's more, I think it's a matter of more honorable and more respectful that you take care of the equipment that you've broke, regardless as to what fault it is. That's another thing that I really respect a lot of dealing business with Asians, you know, and stuff like that. You know, I never really had any problems getting stuff from them because if there was a mistake made in my order, it was taken care of. I wouldn't, you know, if I deal with a U.S. distributor, for example, I mean, they give me the business end of everything. You know, they would just argue and it's like, well, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do that? Never have to argue with China or any other Asian country, you know. Let me see if I can find a business etiquette. Hold on a minute. There you go. Well, that one's 16 minutes, so. All right, let me show you guys this here. I mean, most people don't use business cards anymore. I still use business cards, so let me show you this here, folks, just to give you an example and the reason why I'm going to show you this is I'm going to show you the difference between as far as cultures are concerned. No, we're not doing any Sean G stuff today. So let me play this out in full. I'm not going to really...
Welcome to PNN, Plaza Homes YouTube channel. I am Haruka Haze from Plaza Homes. We regularly provide value...
Oh, wait a minute. Let me just do a 1-minute video. Fuck that. Alright, here we go.
In Japan, correct etiquette is very important, and even some of the simplest situations will have a specific way of doing things. Today, we will teach you the Japanese way of exchanging business cards, so that you can impress your business partners with your cultural knowledge. First of all, take a business card out and place it on top of your holder if you have one. Then, state the name of your company, your department and your name.
English Company Sales Department, Benjamin Green. Nice to meet you.
When exchanging cards at the same time, offer your card with your left hand and receive your counterpart's with your right. Once your left hand becomes free, hold your counterpart's card with both hands. Handing your own card below your counterpart's is a sign of respect. Hopefully by following these simple steps, you will be able to leave a good first impression on future business partners and friends. Good.
Now that is an example of a Japanese business card exchange. That's a small portion there. Whenever you're doing a business meeting with a Japanese person, it's a lot different, you know. After you exchange cards and you sit down at the desk, you take your business card out and there's a little holder. You take your business card and you put it right in front of you on that holder. And then you conduct the meeting. Once you do that, you pick up your business card, you put it back in your pocket. Now, if the person is leaving, the person can leave as normal. But if you were hosting the meeting, you actually have to walk them to the elevator or the stairs. And then you have to bow, you know, until they actually leave. I kid you not. That's how you conduct the Japanese, you know. So my point on this here, folks, is that, you know, different cultures have different rules as far as etiquette is concerned. And what Greg Doucette is missing is the fact that, you know, they're obviously in China, you know. They're not in the U.S., they're not in Canada, they're not in Europe or anything like that, you know. But, you know, the thing that Greg is actually missing, who cares who has to pay for it? He trained safely. He didn't get killed or anything like that. You know. So, I mean, he probably paid for it and then bowed his head, say, "So sorry," or something like that. You know, I don't know. But in any event, that's the review for today. So, rest of the 40 minutes, folks, get your questions in. If you wish to leave a donation, you can. Because I'm not reviewing anything else today because I'm pretty sick, so. But yeah, I'm going to do a lot more Q&A on my 1-hour shows as opposed to reviewing a video. I'm going to review a video for monetary purposes. That's after the show actually ends, so that way I have some sort of educational content. But at the same time, folks, you know, a lot of my Q&A gets missed on most of my bigger shows, Midnight Run and Earl Grey Tuesday. Because, you know, the original shows, you know, I used to just answer questions for, you know, like 2 hours. So, let's see. Well, I don't think a mugger would have a business card. But then again, they don't really... There's very little crime in Japan, nameless. You know what I mean? There's very little crime. And I mean, the Japanese prisons, they're pretty much like military bases almost, you know. But there's very little crime in Japan or China or any other country. Because Lord knows they don't want to break the law in those countries. Not only that, I mean, the vast majority of the country are Asians, you know. You know, there's very little white people, very little black people there, you know. And when you have a homogenous society, you're pretty much already on the same wavelength, you know, pretty much. Yeah, there is a lot of crap going on, but it's just, for me, it's just weather. What is my dream home setup? It would definitely be equipment from Body Solid because that's what I sell. But probably I'm all about very little equipment, but probably a free rate rack system. I still got my total trainer, so I would have that for my cable weights. Full set of dumbbells that goes up to 150 pounds. I have my I love my Bowflex Max trainer, so I'll have that cardio. But I would also like a treadmill as well. But that would be my dream home gym setup. But that's impossible given the amount of room I have. Oh, I know, Kat, I know. But everything in these countries are just so different. I mean, the Japanese moving companies, they operate different than a regular moving company. Some of it is awesome, but other times, you know what I mean? I think a power cage would be... Well, remember, Nameless, I sell body solid equipment, so naturally I would go and get that equipment because it's going to be a lot cheaper for me. I mean, if you're going to have a dream setup there, you still want to be very cost effective. I'm definitely not going to get anything that Bob Ciccarello has. I mean, I'm sure they gave him that free equipment for doing sponsorships and stuff like that, but I looked at the prices on that. God almighty, that stuff is just expensive. I'd probably rather spend time... I'd rather spend 8 hours with Sean G because I know what I would expect. Troy Archer, he's a little bit crackers. He has a screw loose or something. No, I wouldn't want any power blocks. And the reason I wouldn't want power blocks is they can be very unsturdy. And if they fall apart and you got yourself an overhead, and all that stuff hits you in the face, it's not going to be good. Yes, Tinkinade is going to be Japanese. I mean, I don't really do business with Japanese or Asian people anymore. That was only during the time whenever I was importing raw chemicals and stuff like that, I think Blaha gets results from him, from his equipment. I mean, naturally he's going to be stronger than other individuals that don't train at all. He just has no genetics or anything. Yes, I've had that before, and all you do is hand them some gum. I mean, I try to have... If I know my breath is a little funky, I'll have some gum too, so... Right before I do anything, so... I mean, it's no different than any other date. I mean, a date with a guy is no different than a date with a girl. There's only one difference, and we all know what that is, Let's see what old McCuck is talking about. McCuck always likes to run his mouth about me for some reason or another. I don't know why.
Uh-oh, Tony.
looks like he posted up something about a house. Any house can be remodeled, so I don't know what he's talking about. I've seen dirtier houses. Tara Babcock. I don't know who that is. Let's take a look. Fake tits. Bleach blonde hair. I'd probably give her a 6 or 7. Actually, I'd give her a 4, actually. Yeah, definitely a 4. Like I said, I mean, the one thing that gets on my nerves is fake tits. I mean, you can motorboat them or anything like that, but, you know, that's someone like that is going to obviously be superficial and not confident as far as to who they are. And then the bleach blonde hair, I mean, it's just gaudy. I'm not seeing, I mean, Blue, I mean, compared to my cousin, Blaha lives a lot more safer than my cousin. So, I mean, I've never had any issues with Blaha lifting. It's just all the other stuff. Emma Rose? Come on, man. I'm not going to rate no porn star or anything. I'm just fucking with you, man. So, I don't find either one of those two attractive, you know. Well, Nameless, he hasn't really bought any new equipment in years. So he probably saved up over time, you know. I mean, did you look at his previous house? He practically has nothing in there. Except a chair, a bed, and a computer and stuff. I mean, his old apartment, the whole house was just littered with exercise equipment. So when you spend all your money on nothing but exercise equipment, and it's in your living room, your kitchen, and stuff like that, then it's pretty easy to save that kind of money for the equipment. I mean, that's all he bought. I mean, but I don't think he's bought any equipment in years. I mean, he could have also bought the equipment used just as well. But if you don't spend any money on nothing but equipment, then yeah, you're gonna have that type of equipment. I mean, there's people in shit houses there that got hundreds and hundreds of guns, you know. That probably spent $50,000 or $60,000 in guns, you know. Stuff adds up. I mean, he definitely is training on some super expensive equipment, but in the scheme of things, you got to understand it's spread out over a course of, because Blaha's been doing YouTube for over 10 or 11 years at least, so if you spread that out, it's not really much in the scheme of things. Yeah, that, and all you got to do is take it apart and move it. Taking apart free weight equipment and stuff is pretty easy. Taking apart a rack and stuff. The only other stuff that's going to be complicated is anything with machines or cable weights. But if you have a rack or something, you know, you can buy it super cheap. You know, take a ratchet, take it apart, load it up on a truck, and then just put it together at home. And I mean, weights, I mean, come on. Weights are pretty easy. Blaha doesn't have really much cable equipment. And all of his stuff is free weight, so it's pretty easy for him to haul that stuff home. Cat, it's 2:35. It's a little early to be drinking kind of heavy. Oh, father's always gonna be a lot more minty, guy. Yeah, you definitely have to when it comes to cable. That's why any type of setup myself there, if I had my home gym set up, it would just mostly be free weights because I know I'm going to be able to get an awesome deal on it at a liquidation. The stuff's going to last forever. There's not going to be any real repairs or anything. That's also why I said, get free weights. Those things are going to last forever. You're never going to have to replace them. 50 years from now, you'll still be training on those same free weights. No, my mom lives in Asheville. My dad lives in Cleveland, Ohio. I got a lot of relatives that live in Asheville and in Cleveland. Yeah, cable weights are going to be a lot safer. That's why they're in most gyms. But in terms of training at home, if I want something that's going to last forever, it's going to always be free weights. Yeah, Kalura lives closer to me than if I lived in Asheville. I think he's like an hour or 2 hours away. Oh boy. Now, I think free weights are going to give you more arm growth than a cable weight. Cable weights are safer, but free weights are always going to be superior to. It's going to always be superior to. What did I say? Oh yeah, free weights are always going to be superior to cable weights or any type of machine weights. But yeah, if I was going to open up a gym or so forth, I would definitely have more free weights than I would have. I would keep the cable and machine weights to a very minimum, and just have more free weights. But nowadays, people want to go and train on cable weights. The cable weights bring in they bring in just the shit lifters, basically the general public. But when it comes to the free weights, that's going to bring in the true gym rats. So that's why there's a mix of them. Because otherwise, if all you had is gym rats, then I would just outline. If the vast majority of my gym members, if I opened up a gym, were gym rats, I wouldn't even have any cable or machine weights. I would just have nothing but free weights. A lot easier to maintain. I mean, there's practically no maintenance with free weights. None. I mean, they're just weights. Yeah, this is 100% cotton. The black robe is silk. Yeah, but you just need to tighten them up there, KCB. No big deal. Well, nameless, that's the time that you should be. I mean, I have to take Seponate because my body's no longer producing any testosterone. You just don't want to take the stuff when you're young, if possible. If you're not going to be competing or anything in bodybuilding or untested powerlifting, then don't go on any steroids at all. Just leave that stuff alone. Because then you're going to pay for it anyway down the line. Sort of like how I have. Now, I haven't taken actual steroids since 2001. But even with that being said, it already does the damage. So 20 years later, I'm in this situation. So yeah, they be throwing those things there. People be doing all sorts of silly stuff. But that's the world we live in. Yes, youth is indeed on your side for now, but don't forget, I said the same thing 20 years ago, Lamar. Everything that you're saying is something that I said previously. But everyone gets old. It's kind of scary to think that, in a couple months I'm actually going to turn 47. I still can't, I'm going to be honest with you folks, I can't believe still that I'm actually 46 years old. It doesn't feel like it neither, a lot of times. A lot of times I still feel like I'm in my 20s. But then there's certain things like a bad back or getting sick whenever the weather gets kind of weird that reminds me that I am in my 40s. Not only that, whenever I go to the bar, Lamar, I never have to worry about getting carded like you and your friends. Even when I'm shaved or so forth, even if I shave off all this and dye hair, I don't get carded. Nobody cards me. Nobody. I mean, literally. No, I've not been carded in years. I need to get a new lighter. But that's the thing, folks. I mean, there are advantages of getting older. I mean, my insurance is practically nil. You spend a lot less, obviously, because I got clothes and stuff like that. When you're a lot younger, you tend to buy more stuff because you don't have much. Now I'm all settled in, so I don't really have to buy a lot of anything. Usually I have it in the cabinets or so forth. Insurance is lower. Your house is settled. Everything's settled. You've got savings and stuff. When you're starting out, most people just don't have any savings at all. How would I have handled the situation in the bar about not being carded? Just leave, disengage. It's not worth getting into an argument at a bar. And not only that, again, he was just doing his job, a lot of these establishments, Lamar, even if a person's old enough, if they send undercover people in, and if they don't get carded, a lot of bars, they'll get fined like $10,000 or $20,000. Nasty, Sadie, nasty. Yes, I was a bouncer for many years for different clubs. They used to have a bar around here, the Handlebar, where I did bouncing at. But we don't call it bouncing, we just call it security. But, I mean, it's the same thing. Doing security work is a more professional way of just saying you're a bouncer. Whenever you think bouncer, you're thinking Patrick Swayze, and you're handing out roundhouse kicks to everyone that comes to the bar and stuff, you know. I've not weighed myself in a while, but I definitely am losing weight, so. I mean, I've tried on a couple of my suits for the wintertime that I couldn't fit in last year. I can fit in them easily now, so. Definitely losing weight. And part of that is because I'm taking Seponate. I mean, steroids, naturally, when you have a high testosterone, your metabolism goes up and you burn more calories. And then I have energy to train harder, too, so. But let's get a little music started here. But folks, we got about 14 minutes left, so get your questions in. I'm pretty low on carbs. I'll take about 50 to 100 grams of carbs, but I eat those usually during the day. I don't take any carbs usually after 6 o'clock p.m. Well, this is Soul Pole Saturday, so I always say Soul Pole to begin and Soul Pole to end, so I don't have to say it in the middle of the show. Works a little bit different. This is the only day it works a little different. Let me see if my phone is charged up. It is indeed. Yeah, I gotta throw out all that stuff. Then, soul pole, what does it mean? That's my dick. That's what the soul pole is. It's black dick. When you're giving the girls soul pole. But that's what soul pole is. See, I broke my rule now. I'll have to say it again whenever the show ends. You'll have to change it up once you get a little older. I'm assuming you're in your 20s. And whenever I was in my 20s, it didn't matter what I ate. I can eat cheeseburgers all day and a pizza and I would still have a six-pack. And yes, folks, I had a six-pack for many years. Up until my mid-30s. The last time I had a real six-pack was in 2009 whenever I was competing. But then my metabolism started slowing down. But I'll have a six-pack again in about 4 or 5 months. Now that I'm on the Seponate, now that my testosterone's back, everything will drop in place. Like I said, I'm able to fit back in my suits and stuff, suit coats. So I'm happy about that. The hell with your damn dog. Yeah, I used to have a real crazy metabolism. I literally could not eat enough. So, folks, what are y'all doing for the rest of the afternoon? I'm going to tune into Marcus Campbell's affiliate course that I signed up for while I'm cleaning up. You about to buy a dishwasher? That's why you gotta get yourself a mobile home. My home also came with a dishwasher, fridge, range, and stuff. Even came with cabinets too. High efficiency heat pump. Yeah, I guess it would be Sunday in Australia. Y'all are always running in the future. Yeah, I'm going to work out later too. But I'm going to work out at home. I'm not going to... Because I went to the gym Thursday. I only go to the gym a few days a week now. And then I just train at home. It's a matter of convenience, folks. I got my groceries this morning delivered. They were a little late. They got here at 10 o'clock. But all my grocery shopping's done now. For at least until next week or so. Now, when I start working again, I'm going to work out in the mornings. And that's going to be nice. Because usually whenever I'm working, I want to make sure I get a nice workout in. That way that gets me relaxed. That gets me ready for today's work, you know. The show times will change, obviously. But it won't be too bad, folks. I'll make sure I keep it minty. The only thing I'm probably going to end up doing is probably doing any 4-hour shows would probably go to 2 hours. With the exception of the midnight run, because I won't have to work weekends, so you know, it wouldn't be too bad for me to do a 4-hour show after getting off work. Lean pork with broccoli, cauliflower. Dang, that sounds good. That's Monday. But there's a couple other companies that I'll be applying for as well. I want to make sure I get the best deal. But it is possible that I may, depending on workloads and stuff like that, I may get hired for the job, but may not be able to start until next year or so. Because it is around Christmas time, but I'm going to try to get something in before the end of the year. That way I can get back into the motions of things. Oh, you know I'm going to look sharp. I mean, I can fit in my suits again, so... I'm not going to come there with a 3-piece suit. It's just going to be business casual. I mean, technically, I've been semi-retired since August of last year. But I need to make sure I save up for retirement, folks. The good thing is I'll have 2 monetized channels. The other one... Once that becomes monetized, financial YouTube channels pay a lot more than a mince channel like myself, like this one, because there's financial advertisements like, because if you go to my channel right now, you'll notice any type of ads that run are going to be like Charles Schwab and stuff like that. So my online businesses and my affiliate accounts. I mean, as far as my YouTube channel is concerned, this channel makes about, without donations, I don't consider donations as part of my income because that money is reserved for paying for internet expenses and other equipment. But generally speaking, because of the large amount of videos I have on my channel, which is like 1,200, I'm going to be guaranteed about $200 each and every 2 or 3 months or so. Oh yeah, I had to remove all of the shorts for now because someone had hit me with a copyright strike, which I'm appealing. But I got some new shorts that are coming. The YouTube shorts are a awesome way to build up hours. I'm not worried about the subscribers because all I need is another 20 and then it's eligible for monetization. The biggest thing is getting 3,000 watch hours in. Now I'm hoping I can do that at the end of the month. Right now I'm at like 800 watch hours. Which is outstanding for like 2.5 weeks. That's why I want to get those YouTube shorts back up. Now, I hadn't seen Pug. Alright, folks, 3 minutes left. And then we're going to crack you into the show, folks. Hey, Showcase, what's up? You getting here kind of late. So late that we got like 2 minutes left. Hey, Lamar, you going to be streaming later on tonight? Oh, it is crazy. You don't know? Okay. Well, make sure you schedule it and let us know in advance, No, but as far as McCuck is concerned, I don't really care about him. He's just a bag of hot wind. But folks, that is the end of Soul Pose Saturday. Want to thank everybody for joining me. Y'all be sure to stay safe this afternoon, folks. Don't get yourselves in any trouble. Don't forget, Sunday Hangover is tomorrow. And as always, peace and soul.